Hey, what's up, YouTube? In this video, this is the last section of my 2018 NFL Draft preview. In this video, I'm going to be looking at the defensive back class for this draft. And what I mean by that, I'm covering the cornerbacks, safeties, strong safety, free safety, however which way you want to put them. I'm going to be covering those type of players in this video. So going into my top 5 defensive backs, the upcoming 2018 NFL Draft. At number 5, I have Josh Jackson, cornerback from Iowa. When I look at Josh Jackson's strengths, he's got very good height and length for the position. Kind of ideal in that he's 6'1", he's got pretty long arms, and defensive coordinators are going to like at the next level because he has very good potential to be an effective press corner with using his length and size to kind of keep wide receivers jammed at the line of scrimmage at the next level. Now, the first thing I noticed right off the bat when I watched Josh Jackson on film was that he's just an outstanding ball hawk, and you saw that with his great production in his last season at Iowa. He had 8 interceptions, 27 passes defended, just insane numbers and insane production overall. This guy's got incredible ball skills. He can easily high point balls for jump ball plays. He anticipates routes very well, and he just pounces once the quarterback throws the ball. Very good anticipation, very good quickness to react to where the ball's going to be thrown, and he just reads his keys very well as a defensive backs. And overall, he's more of a guy that fits the zone coverage mold for cornerbacks. He's just got great instincts in zone coverage. He reads the quarterback's eyes very well. And once he makes his read, he's quick to react once that read is made to where the ball is going. So just very overall, very solid, very good zone coverage. That's going to be something he excels at the next level in the NFL. And then the last thing, he has a very good understanding of how to play the position overall, despite the fact that he really lacks experience for the position. He only played 1 year as a starter, I believe. So he really does not have a lot of experience overall. He's very new to the position. So you got to like that he's already got these natural instincts to know when to be at the right spot at the right time, where the quarterback is throwing it, where the routes are kind of mixing up in zone coverage, where to be there, which guy to cover in zone coverage. And then finally, the most important thing, when the ball's in the air, which angle to take to go get the ball and snatch it out of the air and return to the house. So in terms of weaknesses for Josh Jackson, there are quite a few. The first one that's really noticeable, he's got a really lack of long speed, which could, limit his potential at the next level. He ran a 4.56 40 at the NFL Combine, which is, pretty well below average for a defensive back. And this leads me to believe that at the next level in man coverage, he's a guy that's going to be beat maybe quite often by speedier wide receivers that can get down the field vertically. That's definitely a main concern for me when it comes to Josh Jackson. And overall, he just struggles, I think, in man coverage at times. He's just very inconsistent in that. He's got pretty poor technique as of now in press coverage. Even though he's got the potential to eventually be good there, his technique is not there. Like he said, he's very new. He's very inexperienced right now. This is stuff that'll improve in time, but it's definitely concerns right now as it is. He needs to be more physical with his hands at the line of scrimmage at the snap in order to jam wide receivers a little bit better. And he struggles to keep up with very precise route runners. Quicker, more shiftier wide receivers can easily, fool him in coverage and get beat pretty bad once in a while. And for the lack of experience, he needs to clean up his tackling just a little bit and run support. I always prefer corners personally with corners that can tackle very well and run support. He's going to have to clean that up a little bit. And really the main weakness here is he lacks experience as of now. Only 1 year as a starter, like I said. And some evaluators, they have to decipher whether he's a one-year wonder or whether what we saw last season really will translate to the next level and who he is as a prospect and as a player overall. When I look at Josh Jackson's pro comparison, I compare him very similarly to a Josh Norman of the Washington Redskins. Both are kind of lengthier corners who are better in zone coverage overall and may not be the guys you necessarily want to be your man-to-man coverage guys, but both excel in zone coverage and reading the quarterbacks and then being a playmaker and a ball hawk off of when the quarterback makes, an ill-advised throw in zone coverage. His draft range is a guy that's going to be late first round to early second round. He was a guy that was hyped up to be a little bit going a little bit higher in the first round early in the draft process. But as we kind of saw his measurables at the draft combine, he's kind of slipped a little bit. I still think he's a guy that can go late first, early second, though. So bottom line for me, Josh Jackson has the necessary height, length, and ball skills that NFL teams covet in modern-day cornerbacks. Jackson is especially good in zone coverage, where his natural instincts and ball skills are best utilized to his best ability. However, I think Jackson's lack of elite athleticism, struggles in man coverage, and just overall a lack of experience will lead to some struggles early in his career. Jackson has a high potential to be a ball-hawking terror on defense, though, and he needs to be coached up just a little bit in order to reach that potential. So moving on, my number 4 defensive back in the upcoming NFL draft is Isaiah Oliver, cornerback out of Colorado. What I like about Isaiah Oliver is similar to Josh Jackson, he's got great height and length for the position. He's 6'1", 190 pounds. He's a pretty good frame overall as of now. And speaking of just length, he's got freakishly long arms. And this gives him an advantage in that he's just got an additional margin for error when the ball's in the air, where he doesn't have to be exactly stuck to his guy in order to make a play on the ball, which you really got to like that from a cornerback. This length is very effective for him in press coverage. He uses those long arms to his advantage with a very strong initial jab at the wide receiver to kind of put the wide receiver off balance and keep him off his route and keep him out of time on his route. And then off of press coverage, he opens his hips up very quickly to transition then to going into the coverage phase of press coverage. He's a guy that can be a very effective bump and run type of style cornerback at the next level. And then when the ball's in the air, he's very effective at making sure that he can make a play on the ball. Like I said, those long arms are a huge advantage for him, and they will be at the next level especially. And then you combine that with explosive leaping ability. This is a guy that's not going to lose many jump ball battles at the next level. He's a guy that you can't throw jump balls in the red zone at him. If you're trying to throw the ball deep on him, he's a guy that can high point the ball very well. And he's very crafty in taking down receivers' arms without drawing penalties. I've seen him do this quite a few times. He seems like a very crafty player that kind of understands the nuances of playing the ball at the next level, which will be huge for him since there are a few flaws in his game, as I'll get to later. But staying with his strengths here, he's got very soft hands, I think. And I think as he transitions to the NFL, this will lead to more interceptions as he gets kind of coached up a bit at the next level. And overall, similar to Josh Jackson, he's got very good instincts in zone coverage, reads the quarterback very well, and makes the play on the ball. And in terms of weaknesses, he struggles in off-man coverage quite a bit. His footwork is a work in progress. As of now, he often gets a little bit tangled up a little bit. And overall, he just gives too much space on his routes. Often he'll let guys on, in patterns and out patterns kind of have too much space to catch the ball. He doesn't really anticipate and have the closing speed to kind of get onto them as the ball's in the air. He kind of lets them catches it, and then he makes the tackle too many times instead of contesting the ball at the catch point. Some other weaknesses for him, his lateral change of direction is very below average for a cornerback. So, again, quicker, shiftier wide receivers will give him some fits at the next level. And overall, even though he's got a pretty good frame and size, he's not as physical as I'd like him to be in the running game. He needs to be more assertive in run support and be willing to take on blockers and be able to be a willing tackler in the running game a little bit. Again, that's personally something I like in my cornerbacks. And that might be a concern for some teams that maybe want their cornerbacks to be more physical line of scrimmage presences. In terms of a pro comparison, I compare him to former Chicago Bears cornerback Charles Tillman because both those guys are kind of crafty, longer cornerbacks who are pretty good in zone coverage and have the ability to create takeaways and be playmakers at the next level. I think he's a guy that's going to go late first, early second round, similar to Josh Jackson. And then bottom line for me, Isaiah Oliver, he has the traits that you want in a press, bump and run cornerback. Oliver has freakish length and uses that to his advantage when playing the ball in the air quite a bit. However, Oliver's lack of ideal quickness and off-ball coverage skills in space may make NFL teams a little bit skeptical, which will drop him a little bit in the draft process. However, an NFL team looking for a physical press corner will not find a better option than Oliver in this draft, in my opinion. He's the prototypical bump and run press corner in this draft. And then moving on, my number 3 defensive back in this upcoming NFL draft is cornerback Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. Looking at Denzel Ward's strengths, this guy's got excellent elite athleticism for the position. He ran a 4.32 40 at the combine, which is a 39-inch vertical. Those are both very good numbers. And what you get from this is, and watching him on tape just a little bit, he has the speed to keep up with wide receivers on vertical routes. He can basically match receivers speed for speed on those routes, and he will rarely get beat deep. He's got great recovery speed when he does get beat on route, and this allows him to get back into the play very quickly, so he's not making a huge mistake that will lead to a touchdown. And then using that vertical leap, he can contest jump balls very effectively because he has a good, like I said, he has a good vertical leap, and he's got pretty long arms, despite the fact that he's a little bit shorter in stature for a cornerback. So those are all things to like about him. And then what you really just got to love about this kid is he's got absolutely perfect technique in man coverage. When it comes to playing on the line of scrimmage, he jabs very well, and he turns his hips very fluidly in press coverage so he won't get beat off the line of scrimmage. And then when he's in coverage, he mirrors receivers almost to a T for very long periods of times without opening those hips again to where a guy can maybe run a route on him and like get open up at the top of his break. He's just very good at mirroring wide receivers. His footwork is pretty much impeccable at this point, and he's just a guy that's very sticky. He's always around to contest the catch at all times. Even if the guy may make a contested catch on him, there's rarely a time where he'll just get absolutely burned and wide receiver will be wide open when he's guarding them. He's very good at always staying in the play at all times. He has the quickness to play off man coverage, which you got to really like. And he's also got very good instincts in zone coverage as well. He's just a natural playmaking cornerback. And his ball skills are also very good as well. He's just an all-around great coverage guy in general. Where the weaknesses lie, really, it comes down to his size. I think he's severely undersized for the position. He's 5'10", 190 pounds, and he's got just a very slender frame on him overall. He's going to need to add some more play strength if he's going to be able to hold up at the next level and make a big impact at the next level. Where this really comes into play comes with bigger receivers. They do create problems for him. He easily gets bodies at the top of routes, on comeback routes, on curl routes, stuff of that nature. He can struggle to tackle these bigger wide receivers after the catch when they get the ball because he can get dragged just a little bit. Again, he's an undersized guy. And I think this might create a problem in the red zone because teams might want to use a lot of pick routes and a lot of jump ball routes with bigger wide receivers that can use their frame and physicality to just out-muscle him to get the ball in the end zone. That's where I see many of the problems coming for him in coverage. And then in the running game, I think he might be a guy that might be a liability in the running game just a little bit because you'll often see bigger running back just absolutely explode through his tackles and just drag him for a few yards. Even though he is willing to hit for a small frame, it doesn't really work out a lot of the times. And he struggles to get off blocks routinely from wide receivers. So he might not be that much of an impact player in terms of the running game at the next level. He's a guy that's purely just a great coverage guy, in my opinion, when grading him. My pro comparison for him is Chris Harris of the Denver Broncos. If you remember Chris Harris, he's more of a guy he's more of a slot corner in the NFL, but what he is a slot corner is an elite coverage slot corner, which it's hard to find those guys in the NFL. And where I see Denzel Ward going is top 10 to maybe middle of the first round if he drops just a little bit. So bottom line for me, Denzel Ward is the best pure man-to-man coverage cornerback in this entire draft class by far. What Ward lacks in height and size, he makes up for with elite athleticism, lengthy arms, and pitch-perfect technique to guard guys in space. Ward's lack of size may make him a better fit in the slot at the next level, guarding more shiftier, smaller wide receivers, and he may be a little bit of a liability in the running game. But I think teams looking for a shutdown man coverage cornerback should look no further than this Ohio State product. And then, moving on, my number 2 defensive back in this upcoming class is Derwin James, safety out of Florida State. When I look at Derwin James' strengths, he's got just elite physical tools. He's 6'2", 215 pounds, 33-inch arms, ran a 4.47 40 at the NFL Combine, 40-inch vertical. Those are just insane physical traits for a safety's position. And he's got the versatility because of those athletic traits to play a variety of roles on defense. He has the speed to be a deep sideline-to-sideline deep safety at the next level and maybe a free safety role. He can cover slot receivers as a nickel back. He has the physicality and size to play in the box as more of a run-supporting safety. He can do all these things physically and do them well. I think where he's best used at is as a strong safety at the NFL, because when I look at him on tape, he's very physical. He's a very sure tackler once he gets the guy closed in on him. He looks to create fumbles with his hits. He's not afraid to lay the wood on you. That's for sure. And then because of his size and athleticism, he can cover tight ends and running backs in space and man coverage as well. He uses his size and athleticism to be a very good blitzer, I think. He's a guy that can really wreak havoc as a blitzer, as an extra blitzer for passing situations. And just overall, he's a very good open field tackler with his speed and quickness and ability to change direction. That's not going to be a problem for him at the next level. And this is something that I didn't really see on tape, but I've heard a lot from in terms of the coaches, the coaching staff at Florida State, and scouts who have scouted this kid. From everything that I've heard, he's got very good intangibles. He's said to be a natural leader in the locker room, and coaches just rave about his film study habits, which will definitely translate to the next level, I'm sure. In terms of weaknesses for Derwin James, he needs to tighten up his instincts a little bit. Often when I watch him on tape, he's a little bit slow to diagnose and react to what he's seeing on the field, and he misreads a lot of plays playing deep safety where he'll bite on the wrong route and just leave a guy wide open in space. He needs to clean that up. He might not be best used as a free safety, in my opinion, even though he has the speed to play the position. He also needs to clean up his pursuit angles. Often he just takes a lot of bad angles where running backs can get a step on him, even though he's very, very athletic to make up for that with the speed. And he just needs to be a little bit more aggressive going downhill on ball carries and not just wait for them to approach him, where then he's just then on his heels to make the tackle rather than attacking and really creating more force in his tackle. And, that's just something he needs to clean up at the next level. My pro comparison for him is Eric Berry, another physical box safety that's very versatile and can do a lot of things and can cover and just provide a lot of leadership in that aspect. He's a guy that I think can go top 10 to middle of the first round. He's got elite potential in my eyes. And then bottom line, when I look at Derwin James, he has the athletic makeup to be a versatile weapon for NFL defenses at the NFL level. I believe that James can best be utilized as a hybrid box safety in the NFL where he can use his size and his athleticism to be a very physical presence in the running game, cover tight ends and running backs in man coverage, and occasionally cover slot receivers as well if needed to. James needs to work on diagnosing a little bit faster at the next level, but his work habits in the film room should not make that too much of a problem for him, I think, which I think will allow James to reach his very, very high ceiling to be a Pro Bowl level player at the NFL level. And now, my number one defensive back, it's got to be Minkah Fitzpatrick, safety out of Alabama. When I look at Fitzpatrick's strengths, he's extremely versatile. He can be used at practically every single position in the secondary. He has the speed to play deep safety in a free safety role. He has elite slot corner ability to cover guys in the slot and man-to-man coverage. He can also play outside corner as well with his physical profile at that position. And he also has the size and he's physical enough to play in the box as a run support safety. He's got great measurables for the position. He's 6'1", 201 pounds, very good frame, and he ran a 4.46 40 at the combine. So he's got the necessary athleticism and speed to play practically wherever you want him to in the defensive backfield. And the first thing you got to notice with Minkah Fitzpatrick is he's just got great instincts for playing football in general. He reads the quarterback very well in zone coverage. He's always seemingly in the right spot at the right time. There's a lot of big plays when he needs to make big plays. And he's very disciplined in playing his assignment to a T. Very good in that aspect. He seems to know his defense like the back of his hand, basically. Very good in that aspect of his game. He's also a very huge asset in the run defensive game as well. He's got great range to make plays sideline to sideline, almost like a linebacker in that sense. He pursues very well from behind and making sure that running backs, once they get to the second level, they aren't going to go too far because he's going to be right there pursuing them from behind to get them. And he's also a very physical hitter, using his frame to his ability and just absolutely laying some guys out at times. He's a great asset as a blitzer, very good timing, very good explosiveness, very good technique, and going up against running backs as blockers. He can get by those guys with ease pretty much at the next level. And just what you got to like about him, he's got great intangibles. He's a natural leader. He's a tone setter in the locker room. I mean, Nick Saban, his nickname in college was Son for being Nick Saban's son. And he was said to make Nick Saban laugh. So anyone that can make Nick Saban laugh is obviously a likable guy and a likable presence in the locker room. And that's kind of what you're going to get out of Nick Fitzpatrick in that aspect. Now, in terms of weaknesses, even though he can do a lot of different things very well, he doesn't exactly have one particular aspect that's necessarily elite going into the NFL. And he can be a bit overzealous when tackling. Often he can maybe run by guys, not break down completely when he's closing in on them. And sometimes, tries to go for the big hit instead of just wrapping up sometimes. And if he's going to be successful, he's going to have to find a position that works for him to be successful at. Because even though he can do all these different things in this defensive backfield, he's going to have to find his niche, I think, eventually going into the NFL. So my pro comparison for him is Malcolm Jenkins. He's got very similar measurables coming out of college as Malcolm Jenkins did. And both are kind of versatile guys in the defensive backfield that can do multiple different things for a defense. And I think he's definitely going top 10. He's one of the elite safe prospects in this draft. So bottom line for me, Minkah Fitzpatrick, he's a jack of all trades, master of none type of prospect, but combines that with being elite in terms of intangibles that go along with that. Fitzpatrick can play any position in the secondary, but NFL teams may not be sure what position he will be playing at this time, which may cause him to slip a little bit in the draft. I believe that Fitzpatrick has the ability to be an alpha dog in any secondary he joins, where creative defensive coordinators can use his versatility to their advantage. Fitzpatrick has all-pro potential to be a game-changing talent at the end of the day. At least that's the way I've seen from scouting him. So those are my top 5 defensive backs in this draft. Now I'm going to look at some sleepers and some guys that might be a little bit overrated, in my opinion. So starting with sleepers, the first sleeper I have is Terrell Edmunds, safety out of Virginia Tech. Well, the first thing you got to know is Terrell Edmunds, he's the brother of Tremaine Edmunds from Virginia Tech. They both played together on the same defense. Like I said, he's a safety, and he's just the first thing that really jumps off the screen for me is he has elite athleticism. Ran a 4.47 40 at the NFL Combine, 41-inch vertical, and then he combines that with great size, 6'2", 220 pounds. That's like huge for a safety. He's a guy that can be very effective, I think, as a box safety that can cover multiple positions in terms of tight ends, running backs, dropping back in space a little bit. The one thing that he really needs to clean up, though, is his open field tackling. Too many missed tackles at the second level in the open field. He really needs to clean that up. That's a big thing because as a safety, you're the last line of defense, and if you can't make open field tackles, that's a big red flag. So that's something he needs to work on as he transitions to the NFL. But I believe this kid has really high upside, and with the right coaching, he can be an absolute stud in the back of a defense. He's a guy that I think is going to go in the rounds 3 to 4 because, like I said, the instincts need some work, technique needs some work, and then the main thing is tackling in space. That needs some work as well. My second sleeper is Michael Joseph, cornerback from Dubuque, which is a Division III school. So this guy is really flying under the radar. But the first thing you got to notice with this guy is he's got exceptional length, height, and speed for the position. He checks all those boxes very well. And he's got exceptional ball skills to go along with that. So this is a guy that has quite a bit of potential to be a starting level cornerback at the NFL. But like I said, he played Division III. So it's really hard to judge him against inferior talent like he was going up against in college. So I think it's one of those cases where it's just going to take some time for him to adjust to the NFL level of competition. And he does need to work on his technique quite a bit. He's getting away just the fact that he's just bigger, stronger, and more athletic than the guys he's playing against right now at Division III level football. That's the way it is. But for me, he's a guy that has the raw tools to be a starting level cornerback with very good coaching that may need to sit maybe a year or two and contribute on special teams. He's a guy that's going to be picked in the 6th or 7th round, maybe go undrafted potentially, but this kid has a lot of upside if he goes to the right coaching staff and the right team and he is given time to develop his skills at the cornerback spot. So those are some sleepers for me. And now in terms of a guy that I think is overrated, I look at cornerback Dante Jackson out of LSU. Um, the first thing you got to know with this kid is he's just got tremendous speed, which is why I think a lot of teams have him rated so highly. We're in a 4.32 40 at the NFL Combine. He might be the fastest player in this draft overall on pure speed. This guy has got exceptional speed at the next level. And he's a very quick, twitchy type of athlete too. He's very quick in space. But where my reservations comes with his size. He's extremely undersized at 5'10", 178, very slender frame, which is kind of my concern, similar to a Denzel Ward, except he doesn't have the instincts or the pitch-perfect technique that Ward has to go along with being just a little bit undersized to make up for it. This is a guy here that just relies on his pure athletic ability. He's one of those guys that, he'll be one of those players where he'll just get scorched for a few games, and then he might have that one game where he gets multiple interceptions, he makes multiple plays. But for the most part, he's a guy that I think will get burned a lot at the NFL level because he just doesn't have the size and the necessary instincts and technique to really be an impact player at the next level. He's just a great athlete playing the position right now. And he's a guy that's going to be overdrafted, I think, in the second round due to that speed. It is elite speed, and if it's crafted in any way, they might get a really good player out of him. But I just question him as of now. So, yeah, those are just my general thoughts on the defensive back prospects going into the NFL draft. And with that said, my NFL draft preview for the 2018 NFL draft is officially over. Now we're moving on to where it's only a few days left until the NFL draft. Very exciting. But before that, I need to make the announcement that I will have a mock draft up right before the draft goes. So please check that out when I release it. It'll probably be coming up in a couple of days. I'm still editing it and still putting it together just a little bit, but I promise you, you're not going to want to miss it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, just thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for some more content coming out shortly.